Hello, my name is Zhou. I will be presenting my reproduction study. In this paper, the authors introduced their domain-specific dataset named SleepQA to develop a question-answering system in order to support health coaches. The dataset includes 4,000 training samples and 500 samples each for the depth and test sets. A QA pipeline typically involves two stages. First, the retriever identifies relevant passages for a given question, and then the reader selects an answer from one of the identified passages. For retrieval, the author used the dense passage retrieval framework, where a dual BERT encoder encodes passage and question separately with the loss function to optimize the negative log likelihood of the positive passage against a set of negative passages. The reader is built on the question answering BERT to identify the start and end words for an answer span. For retrieval task, I've done 3 experiments. The top part here shows the author's results, and the bottom part is from my study. The first is to replicate the retriever results. My fine-tuned PubMed BERT only got a record at one score of 0.35 as compared to the author's 0.42, although it matched the score of the author's fine-tuned BERT. A small batch size of 3 was used due to memory limitation, which may have resulted in failure in reproduction, as the DPR retrievers in-batch negative technique relies on having enough negative pairs per question. With a batch size of 3, there were only 2 negative pairs per question, compared to 15 for a batch size of 16 used by the author. To address the limitation of the small batch size and improve retrieval performance, I conducted an obligation study by creating an augmented dataset called SleepQA3X. This was done by paraphrasing the SleepQA twice using Google's Pegasus model, resulting in a new dataset 3 times the original size. Here is an example of the original sample and its paraphrased version. The experiment did not show an improvement in leucine SleepQA3X as the score remained at 0.35. This may be because the training objective of the DPR retriever is to create dense embedding that can capture sentence semantics, and paraphrasing that only preserves the original meaning does not add diversity to the semantic information in the dataset, thus not effectively training a better retriever. My second obligation study is to assess the value of SleepQA dataset using DPR BERT pre-trained on natural question dataset as a baseline, which demonstrated a record at one score of only 0.18. This upholds the value of SleepQA dataset to sleep health domain, despite its significantly smaller size when compared to large open domain dataset like natural question. For reader reproduction, I fine-tuned BioBERT model from scratch. The top part here are the author's scores. The BERT score 2 is the author's baseline model. The bottom score is from this study. In contrast to the retriever, my fine-tuned reader model successfully replicated the author's results, despite using a small batch size of 3. The reason can be that the reader model does not involve contrastive learning, making the batch size less impactful on training performance. That's all for my reproduction study. Thank you for listening.